everyone, and welcome to the Make Love Last interview series. I'm your host, Robin DeAngelo, and throughout this series, I am talking with love, relationships, sex, and overall life success experts from all over the globe. And they're giving you their juiciest tips, practical tools, and really simple to implement strategies on how to connect deeply, how to have more delicious sex with your partner, and just create the most epic love life no matter how busy you are. And today's guest is Rihanna Milne. I am so excited to have her with us today. She is a certified global relationship love and life coach. She is the #1 best-selling author and life and relationship coach for the News TV show. And get this, Radical Dating, Finding Lasting Love Over 40. That's the show. Oh, I love this. She's also the former host of her own TV show, Lessons in Life and Love. She's a motivational speaker and one of my favorites, I'm kind of biased, she's a licensed mental health counselor and certified addictions professional out in Delray Beach, Florida. So today, Rihanna will be talking all about the emotionally healthy, evolved relationship. Rihanna, welcome. We're so excited to have you.
Hi, Robin. How are you? Thank you for having me. And hello, everybody.
Awesome. So, Rihanna, why don't you just share a little bit about, how you came to supporting those in relationship and helping with, supporting and helping recovery through addiction?
Okay, sure. Well, let's get back to the beginning. In 2000, I was certified as an LPC in New Jersey, licensed professional counselor. And moving to Florida, they make you retest. So I'm down here, I'm a licensed mental health counselor. Up there, LCADC, licensed certified drug and alcohol addictions. Down here, CAP. The initials. But the therapy model is more of an old-fashioned model. It's 45 minutes once a week, and that's all the contact you really have with your clients. They can't call you really to discuss things. They can't email you. And the reason I went to RCI, Relationship Coaching Institute, and I went for 2.5 years to become certified in both for singles and couples and life coaching. And I love the model and the program that I created because I'm on the clock for my people 7 days a week, 12 hours a day. They can email me, they can text me, they can call me. And then we have formal sessions. So it's either by Skype, and I do coach around the world. My most recent sign up was from Lebanon. Wow. And, so I'm out there all over the world, which is really fun and frees me up from the office. And, I can really Skype coach anywhere, but I do see people in my Delray Beach office as well. Awesome. So I just love the total support that coaching gives my singles looking for love and my couples looking to fix love. And those are the two areas that I work with, but I do specialize in those with any childhood trauma, because research shows this is wreaking havoc with relationships. I mean, divorce rate is up to 60%. And, coaching and a lot of people that don't have the psychological background are kind of putting a Band-Aid, like a quick fix on helping the couple until you get into the deeper issues of the triggers and the traumas, what happened and occurred in their childhood. And again, they were a victim. It's not their fault, right. But they become unconscious behaviors and acting out in the love relationship, which really does become toxic. And you mentioned my book, Love Beyond Your Dreams. I really go into that, the childhood traumas, the risky personality types to date, and what does the emotionally healthy, evolved love look like? Because that's the roadmap based on research of over 200 books that I cut into Love Beyond Your Dreams to give people really solid advice. Because I needed it. There was not a book out there. I had to read like over 200 books to put it all together in one book that made sense and gave a ton of information. Yeah. So that's the one that went to bestseller.
Oh my goodness. And I just want to thank you, seriously, from the entirety of my heart for the work that you do. Because like you said, there's not a whole lot of people. There's coaches, there's psychotherapists, but there's very few of us that do both. So I really, really appreciate that you see the gaps that traditional psychotherapy and just coaching, creates. And so I want to thank you for the work you do.
Well, totally, Rob. I mean, my personal story was, here I'm this licensed mental health counselor, and, I had a marriage where my guy totally was, and we call it Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. And if you've seen the play or the movie, it's totally about that psychological component. Everyone loves Dr. Jekyll in the community, rich and smart and a doctor, right? Mr. Hyde is the hidden personality type where they act out behind your back in a very risky situation, usually very secretive, or they're just two different people. Like even in your home, in the relationship, these are the guys that can be very abusive to their women and so charming out in society.
Yeah.
And you know, people who finally divorce say, well, how could you leave him? He's such a great guy. And that's a persona. Very often they're sociopathic, you know, that they're putting out there to the world to manipulate and con and get what they want.
Yeah.
But the poor woman's stuck in this relationship, and it can happen in gay and straight relationships as well.
Sure.
So the partner involved in this toxic dynamic really, really suffers.
Gosh,
Yeah.
thank you for sharing that with us, because I know for sure that there are members in our audience that are listening and watching going, oh my gosh.
Well, I got to tell you, Rob, a study showed a few years ago, it was about 80% come from childhood trauma. However, with the dynamics of your generation growing up, the 20s, the 30s, and even early 40s, more broken families, more both parents outside of the household working, more latchkey kids coming home, you know, tightness around money, just all the dynamics. So there was a lot of trauma going on for your generations. And then their relationships are, you know, coming out with Tinder. Are you hot or you're not? You know, they're all totally going for chemistry, and they're lust blind and using sex or sexuality to win a guy. And it's totally like the wrong thing to do. But they're acting out from these childhood wounds and aren't consciously aware of what they're doing. And the sad thing is, you know, they don't teach the skills. And I would love to go back into the schools, because I was a SAC counselor working with the emotionally upset kids in the schools from K through college. But there really needs to be some great education in the high schools or in college that teaches skills for relationships. There's nothing out there. And unfortunately, the parents didn't get it. So nobody's being modeled really good relationship behavior. That's the sad thing. Nobody really knows what to do until you're taught.
Exactly. And that's why I'm so excited to bring all this information to everyone who's listening and watching, because this is basically a big class all in one, right? Out of 20 different experts from all over the globe. So that was kind of like the perfect segue into my question for you, you know, as a life coach, as a love and relationship coach, as a licensed mental health, you know, counselor. So in your mind, Rihanna, what is an epic relationship?
It's funny you use the word epic. My daughter has a charity, EPIC, which is Everyday People Initiating Change. Alexi Panos, and she puts these wells in Africa.
Wow.
But it also means taking account of who you are, loving yourself first. An emotionally healthy, an epic relationship is the emotionally healthy, evolved relationship. That's what I call it. And it's two people feeling amazing about themselves and their lives, and which means being their highest and best self. And highest, I mean acting from integrity, honor. It's a spiritual concept. Really feeling amazing about who they are, and that's two people then combining in relationship. So both are living consciously aware lives. And again, when there are people from trauma that don't know about conscious mindset, living a positive mindset, studies show 8 out of 10 people have negative thoughts. Thoughts become things and behaviors. So if you have two negative, toxic people due to childhood wounds, you've got a lot of infighting and not understanding and not knowing how to communicate. So the evolved spiritual person does know how to communicate. They think before they say, do, and act. You know, so they're very consciously aware, and they always have, and the message I call it, is it coming from for the good of all? You know, is it positive and for the good of all? Even if you have a disagreement, you know, the way I instruct is what I call a tea break or a therapeutic break. You know, both people go off and say, what is she or he really trying to say to me? Maybe I'm not understanding the message. And two, what two solutions can I come back with to help solve the problem? You know, and then would they sit down and talk about it? So it's a team concept. And I work with couples, you know, my program is called Relationship Rescue, because it's usually the last step before divorce. And believe me, it's a lot cheaper than divorces today. And it's worth it, because it's so much satisfaction to see my couples grow and change personally, like they get themselves back. And as a couple, I get them to that point of remembering who they were when they fell in love. And I challenge them on that. Like, are you the same woman when he fell in love with you?
Right.
You know, are you the same man treating her like you did? Are you still romancing her? Or did you completely stop because you're married? So I help them each rebuild their self-esteem because I constantly hear, I lost myself in this relationship,
Mm-hmm.
right? These long-term exclusive relationships. I don't know who I am. I've lost myself. I have no purpose, no passion for life. I'm too tired for sex. And I mean, I just heard this from Joel Osteen, by the way, who I love, but he said 90% of psychotropic drugs, medication for anxiety and depression, are used in the USA, which to me, like, astonished me. And I know personally it's a 33.33% success rate of these pills. So I tell my clients the answers are not in the pills.
Right.
When you're feeling depressed or anxious, okay, it's your body telling you something is off. And I do talk about, you know, a little bit later about balance in life and how important it is to, you know, feel that way and how you monitor balance. And if you're feeling anxious, something's out of whack. If you don't pop a pill and say, what do I need to change?
Yeah.
You know, you become consciously aware and say, what do I need to change? What needs to be different? You know, is my partner and I connecting now? Is something not going right? You know,
So, and that's a really great point of, if something is happening in our lives, our bodies, our experience around us that is uncomfortable, is off, that it is just kind of like an alert. It's our brain and our bodies really trying to get our attention, like, hey, pay
Yes.
attention to you. What can you do? What needs to happen for you? And what I love to hear you say is, and maybe something is there about the connection. And that was a perfect segue to my next question is, when you're working with your couples, Rihanna, and they are talking about, we're so busy, we are disconnected, how do you advise them to reconnect and strengthen that intimacy?
Sure. Well, there's many tips I share in Love Beyond Your Dreams, but I'll just share a few with you. And you've probably heard this from other couples, but the date night is so extremely important.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I suggest too, Wednesday, a more casual night. And I often have date night at home. I light candles. I put on Pandora. I put on something pretty or sexy. We sit and chat. We have a glass of wine. And, you know, it ends up being a great night. And then Saturday night, you go out dressed up. And I tell my ladies, get into your feminine self. Wear a pretty dress. Do your hair. Do your makeup. Like, who were you when he met you? Show up like that. And, you know, the caveman brain, which is called the reptilian brain, and the men can't help it. They are really geared towards attraction, to procreate the race. And they can't help it. It's hardwired into them. So ladies, if you're getting lazy and you're not dressing, you're not keeping yourself up, not eating healthy, not exercising, you know, this is going to whittle away the attraction factor for your man. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times I hear too, like, the men really want the woman to initiate lovemaking because they don't know when a woman's ready. Yeah. However, I am very good at educating my men that they have to understand that the man's sexual center of the brain is 7 times that of a woman. Okay, so he cannot expect the same type of sex drive in his woman that he has. And men are astonished by this fact, and women are like, "Oh, I'm so glad you're sharing this."
Yeah, right.
So where a man can get turned on with an instant, the way their body brain is connected, right. Women's 5 senses must be turned on first. Yes. The taste, the smell, the touch, the words of love or compliments. What other sense did I miss? You know, the 5 senses. Right. And I tell the men, get them out from their homes, get them out from the to-do list. Because if you're in the house, you're going to say, oh, I got to do the floors, I got to do the laundry. Yes. You know, they're not in a romantic state of mind. Okay. And unfortunately, this is how the woman is hardwired herself. So, and she's also hardwired for safety. That is the number 1 cave woman's need and desire, feeling safe. So if I have a couple where the man is like harping and yelling at her, and he's yelling at her because she's not being sexual, well, guess what? Yeah. She doesn't feel safe to open herself to receive you to be sexual. Right. So I get the man to understand he must get her out to romance her, connect with the 5 senses. He must do the attraction factor for her. Take the shower, groom yourself, put on some cologne, put on your nice shoes and slacks, look good. Yeah. Show up, flirt with her. Yes. You know, and I tell my couples, keep it totally positive. Don't discuss anything negative on your dates. Do not do couples dates. My God, that like ruins relationships. The men are over here talking about sports. The women are here talking about kids and recipes and business, whatever.
Right.
And it totally is like not a connection with your partner. And that's the reason to go out. All right. Get away from the kids, go out, get away from business. So I say 4-to-1 ratio, 4 couples dates to 1 group date, because these dates are what really keep you bonded during a work week, you know, and we are a lot of busy professionals. So the dates are something that you look forward to and you can deal with the busyness of the other times. So, I mean, this understanding of the sexual brain is really an important thing for couples to get.
It's so
and
huge.
Yeah, so I always teach my couples that. You know, and for singles that are out there, because I know you have singles that are listening, it's really important to not go for just chemistry and looks. I mean, that's like the worst thing to choose a mate on. You're looking for qualities and traits. So that's the interior person. Who are they on the inside? Okay, so is it someone who's honorable, acts in integrity, works hard, is financially stable, you know, all the traits that makes him a man. That's what you're looking for. So in spirituality, we call this the skin suit. It's really not about that, you know, but it is who are they in your essence, because we're all going to age. But again, you know, do your best to be who that woman or man was in the beginning when you met. Keep the appearance up. Ladies, you know, do everything you need to do to build your self-confidence back if you lost it. You got to feel amazing about you before you're going to be, you know, in that woman's self again, you know. And a lot of us women are hard chargers. I know I grew up raising my kids a lot as a single mom. You know, sometimes I was working 5 jobs to give them the life I wanted them to have and experience, you know, what I wanted them to have. But it's hard to get from that super businesswoman to, hi, I'm a feminine lady, take me out on a date now.
Yes, I'm so glad that you're bringing that up, because I know a lot of the busy couples that are watching this, or busy, you know, individuals in relationship are like, well, you know, I'm so successful and productive at work, and I come home and it's like, what's the deal? It's like, you have to shift into your feminine. You have to allow your
another point to this, Robin, too, that I just want to touch on for a minute, because it goes back to the childhood trauma stuff.
Yeah.
Let's say, and there's 9 traumas, and I think maybe I should hit on this for your viewers because it's so important. But let's say one of the traumas was a girl that grew up with an alcoholic father, and childhood trauma is also referred to as ACOA. That's the old and current term, which stands for adult child of an alcoholic. Yes. I've renamed it to be anyone can overcome abusive childhood trauma. And I actually have a Facebook group for any of the listeners out there that want to connect with other people to learn more information about this. So ACOA in my book is more positive. It's about general overall trauma, because there's addiction is one, but there's 9 traumas. So that's only one, and it's not really reaching the whole broad scope of what's happening.
Right.
So very often an ACOA girl, since it's Magnetic Woman Seminar, would grow up, let's say an alcoholic father where she felt she had no control. Mm-hmm. So very often ACOAs are highly productive in business, because this is where they're getting their self-esteem. They're feeling good about themselves. They're being successful. They have a sense of control. They're empowered. Okay. And to have power, organization, and control on the job is what you want as a woman entrepreneur. We have to have that.
Yeah.
Okay. But it ruins relationships.
Yeah.
Okay. So now you come into the relationship, you're trying to control your partner, you're hard charging, you're moving fast, because that's what you're used to in business.
Yes.
But you're ruining relationships, or you're ruining your energy or your aura to attract.
Right.
Because this control at work can very much become perfectionism, where you're picking apart your partner or being critical or offering suggestions. And let's face it, male ego.
Yeah.
The man doesn't feel like a man with you, like he can really step and be the guy. And again, it's hardwired stuff. You may not need a guy to take care of you at all, but he still needs to feel he can take care of you.
Yes.
So you still need to be the woman when it comes to your dynamic in the relationship, you see? So this is one childhood trauma that's wreaking havoc when you fall in love with someone.
Right.
So that's just one. Would you like me to name the other traumas and then a couple more examples?
Yeah, let's do that. I think this is really helpful for our listeners.
It's really it's cutting edge stuff. I don't think anybody else is really discussing this. So And this is what I specialize in. So I get really excited about it because people are like, oh my God, I finally get what's going on. I finally get what's wrong.
Yes.
So here's the 9 traumas. And if you're out there listening, you might want to have a pen or count on your fingers because there'll be a reason, part 2, when I explain. So the 9 traumas. Number 1 is if as a child, and again, you're in a victim stance, you don't know any better. And this is your normal that you grew up with, okay? Because you don't know any better as a child. Okay, you grew up with a parent with any addiction. So I'm talking drugs, alcohol, sex, porn, cheating, shopping, eating, spending, gambling, any kind of addiction. Okay, I think I got a lot of them there.
Mm-hmm.
Second one is emotional abuse. Now, either it's coming towards you and you experience it, or you witness it in a domestic partnership. So either way.
Yeah.
Okay, emotional abuse. Verbal abuse, same thing. They're either yelling at you or you witness a lot of yelling and fighting with your parents. Physical abuse, rape or molestation while you were young. Abandonment, fault or no fault. Now, a no-fault abandonment is if a child is left by no fault of the parent, like they died early,
right,
or they had to go off to war. And we have a lot of military parents, so their children are growing up with an abandonment issue, okay? Or moving a lot. That's another trauma, because these military families are moving every 3 to 4 years. Okay, a fault abandonment is, let's say the parents divorce, the father goes off and says, yeah, I'll see you every other week, and they blow that off, or they're not dependable, and the child is always wanting and yearning for that relationship. That's a fault abandonment because they could control that. Okay, very important. There's a lot of abandonment issues out there. Next one, if you were part of foster care, adoption, or had to go live with a relative because your parents couldn't take care of you. Next one is personal trauma. You were bullied as a kid, feeling not good enough. Maybe you were overweight. I was super skinny with big glasses myself. No figure, I was teased like horribly. So teasing, anything, if you had a medical condition as a child or got in an accident and, in the hospital, any kind of personal trauma. Next one is sibling trauma. Same thing. If you had a sibling born with problems or developed problems and you were slighted as a kid, a little bit neglected because there was a sibling with problems. And the last one, number 9, is family trauma. So a parent that might have been incarcerated, moving a lot as a family, loss of home by flood and fire. Here's the 9 traumas. Well, you guys out there, just listen, how many did you have? Now, the second part of this is each one, there's a rating scale of 1 to 10. 10 is the most severe number. So someone could be, I had a divorce and, sometimes my dad wasn't, let's say the dad was not around. I missed my dad. I was close with him. He left, went with a girlfriend. I barely saw him. Mm-hmm. This adult woman now will have abandonment issues. She will be prone to be codependent, love addicted, or very jealous. Yeah. And she doesn't know why she's doing it. It's also deep wired subconscious stuff. So this is what I unwire. This is what I work with. So that's the one that could show jealousy, okay, or need for control because they want that man so much, or chasing men, which is like the worst thing you could do. They're chasing because they want the love so much.
Yes.
Okay, so that's from an abandonment thing. Let's say a young man that grew up with a lot of physical abuse. He came home, didn't know if he was going to be beat. He's always yelled at. In a relationship, if the woman gets upset and starts yelling, he may totally shut down and not want to talk. Yeah. And later act out, which is called passive aggressive. Right. Punish you in some way or act out later over something stupid that really you should have been upset about. That's passive aggressive. So, there's another thing that, let's say the same young boy coming home from school, not sure if he's going to be beat that day, has an F on his paper, has to get it signed. He changes it to an A. Okay, so in fact, he's lying about something. They become expert liars as a coping mechanism to survive trauma. They don't want to be beat. Okay, so this is what they learned as a survival coping mechanism. This will be the man that lies all the time in the relationship and thinks no big deal of it.
And then the wife's going, why? There's no reason.
Exactly.
You can be honest with me. Oh my gosh, this is so
that's
helpful.
Like 2 small examples of all this toxic crap that comes out in relationship stems back to the childhood wounds and traumas And that's why when I have a couple, I do life coaching first with each one separate. I still have my couples come together, but I have a 200-page notebook that's interactive. So how they answer on that sheet with me, and it's all designed, it's one of a kind, I wrote it, it's all designed to address the childhood wounds. And when I see how they answer, I know what they are, and then I give them suggestions. You've got to watch for this, or you change this, or you change that. They're like, oh, that makes so much sense. You know, so they're starting to look at their patterns for themselves. And this is coming again from an unconscious brain because it's just natural and normal. But let's say that little boy who was yelled and screamed at ended up marrying this really peaceful, loving woman because he was so attracted to that. But then he starts yelling at her when he's upset because all he knows is, oh, my normal is you yell and scream when you're upset. Yep. Not good. She's not used to that. No. So here's a woman that was a peaceful lady now escalating. No, that's not true. You're accusing me of being with somebody. And then she's yelling back and then becomes a toxic nightmare. Gosh. And she'll come in my office. She goes, I never used to yell. Mm-hmm. Like,
this isn't me. This isn't who I am.
This isn't me. Yeah.
I've been this person.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
So the answers are there. Like when people don't understand what's going on in the relationships, it's so clear to me. Like within the first 10 minutes, I'm like, are you a child of trauma? Were you an adult that had childhood trauma? They're like, how did you know? It's like just
in your behaviors. Yeah. We know what to look for. And again, I'm really glad that you're bringing this up, especially for all of our listeners and watchers, because there's so many people out there, God bless them, that really try to work with couples that are not clinically trained and do not know what to look for. And yes, they can be the Band-Aid and they can help maybe a little bit, but the key is really truly getting to the bottom of where is all this coming from?
Yeah. And it takes a while, Robin, because we are deprogramming really inbred normalities of subconscious stuff.
Yeah.
To make it conscious. So my programs, are 6 months because, studies show 3 months to get change, but 6 months to make it a real habit in everyday life.
Right.
So I describe it like a rainbow. Over here is your pot of gold, but they're starting here at the learning curve. So they learn and they do better than they slip, and then they do better than they slip. But eventually they're getting over that curve. Each one is feeling better about themselves. Their self-esteem goes up. They're starting to think consciously. They're starting to feel better about their choices. There's 2 subtypes of this ACOA stuff. One is that perfectionist controlling, and the other is disorganized and impulsive. Yeah. And the impulsive one, especially in men, is very dangerous. Yeah. If that's the guy, oh, my woman doesn't want me, I'll go pick up a woman tonight. Yeah. Because he needs the attention. Why? Because his mother was mean to him as a kid. So now he's always seeking adult attention. These are the guys always flirting with women, the charmers, They are used to getting women's attention because they didn't have what they needed as a kid.
Right. Rhonda, I want to go back to something that you said earlier about how important it is for us really truly to cultivate our self-esteem and become the best versions of ourselves so that we can show up in this healthy, evolved relationship. And I'm wondering, for our busy people watching this, do you have some suggestions of what they can start doing right away, today, to start building that sense of self?
Yes. First, look at your life, and I describe it in my book, Live Behind Your Dreams. I call it having balance in life, or balanced triangles. Now, we learned in school an equilateral triangle has 3 equal sides like this, right?
Right.
So in your mind, you're always analyzing, am I balanced? So let's start with the couples triangle. It would be me, you, and us. Mm-hmm. So a woman that always gives to the family or the partner and shortchanges her stick, right, is going to feel angry and resentful.
Yep.
So I can see that a lot in my ladies that are housewives and moms. They're always doing for everyone else, and they're, well, what are you doing for your own purpose, for your own fun? It's like, I don't have a purpose. I don't know. Well, I love Tony Robbins saying, if you're not growing, you're dying. So you have to have some purpose in life, even if it's volunteer work or taking a class or taking golf lessons, just something new, learn something new. So, having some exercise, a time for a massage, getting together with your girlfriends. You can't shortchange yourself you're going to be unhappy. And this is when it comes out in depression, anxiety, and extreme fatigue, because there's no joy. So we have to create joy. So even with my singles, same thing. They're sitting at home. They're depressed. They're not dating. They're horribly depressed. And by the way, most of my people end up totally not on psychotropics. I do vitamin therapy. I have all kinds of vitamins that I recommend, and then my meditations. So we get the conscious mind working, and it totally changes them from that anxious, depressed state.
Beautiful.
ACOA has ongoing anxiety. That's a trait. If you're questioning, am I ACOA? Ongoing anxiety is a common trait. Not feeling that you know what normal is for a couple or family. Those are two really common dynamics. So another triangle for singles or couples is think within yourself, mind, body, spirit. So body, now let's get a triangle out of body. Are you exercising enough? Are you sleeping enough? And you're eating healthy foods. Okay. Mind, are you reading enough to keep your mind sharp? Are you learning a new skill? And are you doing something that gets you into the zone that you absolutely love, like a creative arts or singing, dancing, just something that makes you feel like charged up? And the last is spirit, or do you do weekly devotion? Even if you sit and, watch somebody on TV, or find a church, find a meditation group, do something spiritual that you have as a routine. I definitely say meditation for my clients every day, 15 minutes a day, because science and quantum physics prove that 15 minutes of meditation gives the brain and body 8 to 9 hours of positive effects and lower anxiety, depression, cortisol, which is your fight or flight stress chemical, and blood pressure, and increase dopamine and serotonin. So those are your happy, feel-good chemicals. So all my people have this certain meditation that I teach that they do, and it's amazing. Like in a month, they're like, oh my God, or like feel totally different between the vitamins and meditation. They're just like, and then what they achieve, for example, like out of a 26-year-old male, worked for family business, does pretty well in it, doesn't really like it, was promised this position out of college. It wasn't given to him. He has to work his way up, blah, blah, blah. Brilliant animator. I said, I want to see your cartoons. He does like the Fred Flintstones and, the old-fashioned cartoons that I grew up with, Hanna-Barbera cartoons, and he's like so good at it. I'm like, you've got to do this. So I said, let's start meditating on how you're going to do your expressive art. So within a month, he has now 13 children's books he's illustrating.
Oh my goodness.
So, and he just joined a business. He really wanted the business. I said, you know how to meditate on it. You know how to make a proposal. And I gave him ideas because I do business coaching and career coaching. If they need that in their life coaching portion, I do that for them. And he came up with some ideas and he put his proposal together. He meditated on it, called me the other day. I got the job. And guess what? I'm doing animation whiteboards for them. So, he's combining two things he really wanted. So this is the whole concept of live and love beyond your dreams. Like I teach you how to do that. And that's why it's so exciting to be a coach, because, I see my people changing like right before my eyes. So.
Totally. And the best part of that is that this guy, if he's single, I don't know, or even if
he's adorable. He's such a catch.
Right. And what I get excited to hear is all the changes he's making in himself. This goes back to this idea of take care of us so that we can attract the one or just show up better in our relationships. And then it's just a cycle, right, Rihanna? Like we're happy the relationship is probably doing pretty well.
Totally. And I had this couple in their 70s, right? The woman came in through therapy, 69 years old, saying, I want to divorce my husband. I'm like, you're 69 years old. How many years have you been married? Like over 40. I'm like, don't rush into this. I think you should be coaching with me. She was miserable, upset. The guy's a chronic cheater. So of course she's going to be upset. So I suggested relationship rescue, and he would not come in. She goes, he won't come in because he knows he's guilty. I said, well, you start. Because she was very angry, very bitter. And of course, this drove him away, right? The vicious cycle. He's not attracted to her because she's mean. She pushes her away because she's not feeling loved or nurtured. That's the cycle, right? So we did the life coaching with her, and she started dressing differently and lost some weight. And I used to be a model and talent agent, so I always do makeovers for my people to make them feel really good. I do personal shopping for my people that come here to Delray.
Oh.
So we get them feeling like totally amazing about themselves. And then he's now attracted, right? And he picked up the book, Love Beyond Your Dreams, and started reading it. He goes, I'm doing all this stuff. So he called me out of the blue and he goes, okay, I read your book. I'm guilty. I'm doing all this stuff. What do I do next? I said, I think you should come in. We'll start your life coaching.
Yeah.
And long story short, they were going to get divorced. They moved out of the family home, which she cheated with somebody in. So she didn't even want to be in her home. Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Bought a gorgeous new home in a beautiful development. They're dating all the time. They're dancing. He's doing his hobby, which was piano playing, and he loves it. You know, and it's like, and they're in their 70s. So it doesn't matter the age. He had severe childhood trauma, okay, especially around his mother, okay, seeking female attention. So it's a very common pattern. So it doesn't matter the age. It doesn't matter if you're straight or gay, single looking for love, couples in trouble. This whole dynamic of the past, if that is not solved, the relationship or you being able to attract a great guy won't happen.
Right, right. Oh,
it's the aura that attracts. You know, I can talk on the law of attraction a little bit if you want.
Yeah, well, I know. I'm like, I want to do a million interviews with you because you have so much information. What I want to do is, I think I want to have my last question for you, really, for our busy couples who are wanting to know, how do we cultivate the passion and the intimacy and just love in our long-term relationships?
Okay, I know. Well, this is what has to happen.
Okay.
You have to live consciously. And you have to get that mindset of negativity from 8 out of 10 thoughts, which is the average human being. Most human beings have that. Over 90% think and do negative, to a totally positive mindset. If anyone's interested, I just did a Facebook Live on this. I'm under Coach Rihanna Milne on the positive mindset. So you've got to feel like super positive about yourself, your life. So you bring that energy into your relationship. So it's 2 conscious people living in a positive mindset, dedicating to continuing romance, right? Respecting each other's traumas and triggers when they come up, learning the communication skills, which I even haven't had a chance to go into. There's all kinds of techniques for communication that my couples learn. I did tell you about the tea break, but there's so many others to learn. For example, even people, like I'm a Philly girl, okay? So us Northeast people, we talk really fast, we talk with energy. It may sound aggressive sometimes, but it's not meant to be, right? So I've learned moving to Florida recently that could sound aggressive, so I have to slow down, even when I pick up the phone. Hello, this is Rihanna Milne. Where I used to say, hey, it's Rihanna, you know? And that sounds a little aggressive, but people that know me, like don't have an aggressive bone in my body, you know? So it's just a matter, and that's called a regional vocal habit. So vocal habits have to be broken. So I work with each person because somebody's hearing your tone is rude. It's like, well, I'm not talking rude, but let's say they grew up in like a South Philly Italian family where everybody's yelling at each other, and that's their normal.
Yeah.
And again, it's like the wife's going to say, you're always yelling at me. No, I'm not. He's going to deny it because to him, it's normal.
Yeah.
So all these normals that are dysfunctional coming from childhood, that's what we have to break. So when 2 people do that, the whole world changes.
The whole world changes. Oh, man, this has been amazing. We have covered so much in a short amount of time, and I'm just respecting our busy couples' times today, but you have so much information, and I know you had something special that you wanted to share with everyone just for being here today. Why don't you tell them about that? Sure.
There's a couple things. I'm offering a free coaching strategy session with me, not a junior coach. Just go to my website, RihannaMilne.com. I'm sure it'll be on Robin's screen somewhere. And there's a pop-up form. Just fill that out and tell me a little bit about your story. I'll get back to you by email. We'll set up an appointment. We meet by Skype, or if you're in the Delray Beach area, you come into my office and we can meet in person. Also, there are chapter downloads of my books in case you want to see what they look like. Live and Love Beyond Your Dreams. On my website, there's like 50 or 60 pages that you get. It'll give you a really good idea and might be helpful to you.
Yes.
Also, I have a free app, My Relationship Coach, that's out worldwide. What else do I have? Oh, Facebook Live every Sunday night, 7:30 p.m. on my site, Coach Rihanna Milne. And if you miss one, just go to my YouTube channel. Please subscribe, and then you'll get the next video coming out. And they're highly educational, similar like this, Rob. I really am into education, trying to help people. That is my passion, to help people have the life and love, that desire to live and love beyond their dreams. That's what it's all about, and that's when life's amazing. So please take advantage of it, guys. I know I get super busy. I'm only one person. I give a ton of time to my coaching clients, but I will be in touch with you within the day or two at the most to set up that appointment with you. And I think that's everything.
Oh, Rihanna, this, honestly, your gifts have been so generous. And I know that our audience is just chomping at the bit to get their hands on them. So you guys will have access to these links and everything. Thank you again for
You're welcome, Robin. Thank you for having me. Yeah. You know, you're doing a great thing getting out there and reaching as many people as you can and bringing the experts together. It's so sad to see the dynamics happening in the love relationships today and the young people really wanting marriage and a family. Here's a last tip: don't use Tinder. No. There's a lot of tips for dating too, but hang in there. There is, you know, the world is abundant. There's some really beautiful people out there. Just know what to do. Like, knowledge is power. So don't be afraid. Don't stay stuck in fear. Get empowered. Learn what to do. And I really wish you a lot of God blessings, you know, coming your way, everybody. So
thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you for being here with us. And thank you to everyone who tuned in today. Keep an eye on your inbox. You will get another phenomenal interview tomorrow with the Make Love Last interview series. I'm your host, Robin DeAngelo, and we'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.